Hello everyone, and today we are going to be 100%ing Recursive. This game is a really fun incremental where every system feeds into another with a ton of mini-games, a nice pixel art style, and most importantly, a lot of achievements. Sounds fun? Well, it is. But unfortunately, this game isn't out yet. Though if you're watching this on or after the 13th of March, then it actually might be. So, lucky you. Anyway, the developer very kindly gave me an early access key so that I could show the game to you guys before it drops. I also want to clarify that I'm not sponsored, so you'll be hearing my genuine thoughts about the game. If you want to wishlist or buy Recursive, I've put a link to its Steam page in the description. It's similar to Idle Boss Rush, which I have also made a video on, so if you liked that, I'd highly recommend it. And also, maybe watch the video. On that note, if you're watching this video, you're probably in the 99% of viewers who aren't subscribed. If you're new here, or you've already watched one of my other videos, I'd really appreciate it if you would consider subscribing. Anyway, thanks for listening to me yap, and without further ado, let's get into it. I open the game and I'm greeted with this dude in armour, our protagonist, and a big beetle thingy. I attack the beetle with a mouse click, and it does 1 damage. Thankfully, it only has 5 health, so it doesn't take long to defeat it. Also, pro tip, you can hold down the mouse for a built-in auto-clicker, and it took me way too long to discover this, so I wanted to point it out now. Slaying this first enemy gets us a little bit of XP, which the game tells us that we can spend on the skill tree, which is big. After upgrading the click damage a little bit, I slay a few more bugs, including some big ones, until I reach the boss, who is a really big bug. We have 30 seconds to slay this boss, and thankfully our damage isn't lacking. We slay the giant bug, and it drops a rusty sword, as well as the Mage Tower essence, more on that in a second. We also unlock the Beetlebane achievement for beating this beetle. This also unlocks the second area, the Iron Vanguard, where we have to slay mudmen, instead of big beetles. This gives us the achievement, Iron March, for unlocking it. But before we get into that, wizards, or more accurately, mages. This little guy will automatically turn the XP we get from slaying enemies into a new resource, gold. We can spend this gold on better skills and other stuff later on, including more mages. But for now, it's just this little dude, so we upgrade him a bit for some extra gold. We do, however, get the Town Founder achievement for planting our first essence. Anyway, back to the main game. We equip the rusty sword for some more click damage, and slowly slay our way through some mudmen and to the boss of the Iron Vanguard. The boss is, you guessed it, a big mudman. We're able to take him out within the 30-second timer, and we're officially done with the second area. This gets us the Iron Fortress essence, which unlocks the Mage Tower defense minigame, and the third resource, Iron. This game works in a similar way to the main gameplay loop. You click on enemies as they come to damage them, and a run lasts about 3 minutes. And there are some boss enemies at the end of each run. There is a separate skill tree for the tower defense mode, which can give you automatic attacks as well as automated iron production. The tower defense game mode, also like the main game, split into several areas, and we pretty quickly beat the ones we've unlocked, and we get first stand for beating our first Iron Fortress level. Anyway, back to the main game, and we're now at Area 3, Gravel March. The enemies here are also big bug things, but they're more like leeches than beetles. We grind through the normal enemies and defeat the boss for the achievement, Leech Lord. He drops the Forge Essence, which allows us to place a forge to craft and upgrade our gear. New gear can be crafted by combining 3 drops from an enemy according to a small hint, and existing gear can have its rarity upgraded to produce better effects. We also unlock the second mage, which in turn unlocks the achievement Apprentice Summoner. At this point, we're starting to struggle a little bit, so I decide to prestige for 2 prestige points. I can't remember exactly when I got these, but they were for accumulating a certain amount of XP and gold. These got me the XP Initiate and Gold Initiate achievements respectively. Prestige points are used to unlock powerful buffs that last between prestiges. In this case, I bought an auto clicker when AFK for 1 click per second, and an upgrade to remember how to craft equipment. There are also some even better ones, like Mage Research Carrying Over, click damage multipliers, and so on. You can also get buffs for how much you've spent on each section of the prestige tree. For the first category, you can start with 10k XP, which is quite handy. Finally, I got the Continuity Adept achievement for unlocking the first section of the Prestige skill tree. Alright, into the new run. We progress through pretty quickly and get our first win on the second level of the Iron Fortress. We've also now reached the Gilded Foothills Area 4, which comes with the Gilded Path achievement for reaching it. The enemies here are giant bushes, so let's just say I'm about to do some gardening. We eventually take out the boss bush and get the Market Essence. This allows us to trade in enemy drops for XP, gold and iron. Very nice. We also get the Essence Collector achievement for unlocking all essences, though it looks like a bunch have been added since I got that achievement, which we will see later. We upgrade our gear a bit more and get some nice damage going, as well as unlocking a bunch of armor recipes. We've also been getting more mages in the background, and now we have all 5, giving us the Arcane Academy achievement. Feeling confident, we rush into Area 5, the Arcane Frontier. The enemies here are giant floating eyeballs, and they're pretty tough relative to where we are right now. We just about beat the 5th boss, and we are rewarded with gambling, as well as the achievement Eye Closer. Here I choose to Prestige again, but I'll quickly run through the miscellaneous achievements we got in this run. Centurion for slaying 100 enemies, Arms Dealer for owning 10 unique pieces of equipment, Civil Engineer for having 50 total minigame upgrades, and Iron Initiate for earning our first Iron Prestige point. We have 3 Prestige points this time, so we can complete the Continuity tier and move up onto the Power tier, which gets us the Power Adept achievement. We can now choose which essences drop off of bosses, which is alright, and also we get to keep our Mage Research between Prestiges, which is great. Going into run number 3, I decided to do a bunch of Iron Fortress grinding, which understandably made us a heck of a lot of iron. We pretty quickly beat levels 3 through 6 in the tower defense, and beating number 4 gives us Fortress Breaker, and we also get Boss Slayer for beating 10 bosses in tower defense. All this iron can be put to good use, so we upgrade our gear a bunch, but unfortunately the next boss is a bit of a struggle, even with all these upgrades. Area 6, the Twilight Bastion, has Wraiths as enemies and also introduces enemies that heal over time, meaning we need even more DPS to slay the final boss in the 30 seconds provided. We do, however, get the Twilight Vanguard achievement for getting here. After some more grinding, we just about defeat the giant Wraith, and it's definitely time for another Prestige. This time around, we get 2 times XP, keep 50% of all materials, and the Auto Forge, which crafts gear that we don't know the recipe for every few minutes or so. Into the 7th area, Obsidian Rift, and the enemies here are slimes with some big ol' skulls in them. We clear the tower defense for this area quite easily due to the upgrades we have invested in, and then pretty soon after we defeat the boss slime. Now we're at the last area of the game, the Eclipse Throne, and things are getting real. We do, however, get the Eclipse Conqueror achievement for making it here. We also max out one of our mages for the trophy Mage Mastery, and we also get a bunch more minigame upgrades for Urban Planner. Feeling quite confident, I rush into the boss and die horribly. You see, being the final boss of this game, this guy is quite difficult. He also has 3 phases. The first phase is pretty straightforward and it's a normal boss, but when you get rid of all of his health, he kind of disappears, but the timer is still going. What you have to do here is go to the Iron Fortress and start a run to beat his second phase. After that, the timer resets and he goes back to normal boss mode, but way harder. The third phase also forces a prestige if you fail, so let's just say I prestiged a lot here. So yeah, we fail at first, so it's back to Area 7 to grind. I eventually max out all my mages, giving me the Archmage Council achievement, and we get close, but can't quite beat Phase 3. Eventually, I get enough prestige points to complete the second tier of the tree and unlock Tier 3, which gave me the Ascendant Adept achievement. After even more grinding, I max out all of the Mage Research, which gives me the Master Researcher achievement. I was going to attempt the final boss again, however at this point the game got a pretty nice update. Firstly, the achievements were fixed. I had been tracking them through the in-game achievement menu, so they all popped at once when I logged in. We also get access to the Forge of Creation, which we can use to combine gear so that the resulting piece of gear has the bonus from both original parts. So that's going to be a lot more extra damage. Also, tower defense bosses can spawn in endless mode, which is nice because that makes farming for the tower defense boss trophies a lot easier. But most importantly, the game now has a multi-tiered critical damage system, a little bit like Warframe if you've ever played that. Basically, it means that over 100% crit has a chance to double crit, and then over 200% triple crit, and so on, adding on more exclamation marks. Also, after this update, a system was added to allow bosses to drop prestige points from both tower defense and normal. This allowed me to get the Point Master achievement for earning all prestige points. This is what we needed against the final boss, and we beat him fairly easily, getting us the Skull Crusher achievement, and the Siege Master achievement for beating all 8 tower defense levels. Along the way, we also got some miscellaneous achievements: 1000-fold for slaying 1000 enemies, Annihilator for slaying 10,000 enemies, Master Smith for owning 25 unique equipment pieces, and Tempered Blade for maxing out the rarity on 1 piece, and Armory Keeper for maxing out the rarity on 5 pieces of equipment. But wait, there's more. This update also added the Abyssal Titan, which is a post-game boss who is even harder than the last boss we just fought, so it's going to take a lot of grinding to beat him, but thankfully he's not going to force you to prestige. Speaking of grinding, we've also got a few more trophies to go, so let's jump back into tower defense. Through Endless Mode, we pretty quickly get the remaining tower defense boss achievements, which are Boss Executioner for 25 bosses, and Boss Annihilator for 50 bosses. We can also grind the enemies killed achievement in tower defense, since it's fully automated and even has a 10 times speed option, which gives us trophies for 100,000 enemies, 250,000 enemies, 500,000 enemies, 750,000 enemies, and 1 million enemies. And finally, some miscellaneous achievements that I got along the way. Completionist for owning all equipment, Legendary Arsenal for maxing out the rarity of 25 bits of equipment, Mythical Collection for maxing out all equipment, Scholar for earning 1 million XP, Sage for earning 100 million XP, Omniscient for earning 10 billion XP, Gold Tycoon for earning 500,000 gold, Gold Sovereign for earning 50 million gold, Iron Baron for earning 500,000 iron, and Iron Magnate for earning 50 million iron. And then, after a lot of grinding, we eventually beat the Abyssal Titan and get the Titan Slayer achievement after 24 hours of playtime. Because I went for the 1 million kills first, I ended up constantly upgrading my gear and overkilling the final boss by a lot. So, that's Recursive. Overall, I had a lot of fun with this game, and I'd really recommend it, especially if you're into incrementals. I will put this in the A tier of my 100% tier list, as this is a really solid game, and I can't wait to see what the developer does next. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, and please do consider subscribing if you like this sort of content. I'm currently working on Enfield and Demon's Souls videos in the next month or two, and as always, I'm still working on the Destiny 2 video. I know it's taking ages, but I really want to make sure it's perfect. And with that, I will say, well, I don't really have anything to say, but I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a great week. And until next time.